do you get when you cross a warrior king with a cosmic hymn? A philosopher, a sage, a seeker, a man who, depending on which ancient text you believe in, challenged gods, created a parallel universe, and composed one of the most sacred verses in human history. His name, Vishvamitra, once a king, then a rebel, eventually a Brahmarishi, a title reserved for those who attain the highest knowledge. He wasn't born a sage, he became one. And in that journey lies a story not just in Indian philosophy, but of transformation, ego, failure, transcendence, and the long, slow war between power and wisdom. Let's unravel the legend of the philosophy and the deeper meaning of Vishvamitra. Vishvamitra begins his story not as a thinker, but as a fighter. He was born a Kshatriya, a member of the warrior caste, and ruled as a king of great power. But his reign wasn't destined to end in glory. It ended in dissatisfaction. According to legend, he encountered the sage Vashishta, a Brahmin of immense spiritual power. Vashishta owned the divine cow Kamadhanu, which could grant any wish. Vishvamitra, intrigued by this magical abundance, tried to seize it. It didn't go well. Vashishta, using spiritual force alone, defeated Vishvamitra and humiliated his army. For most kings, that would be a cautionary tale. For Vishvamitra, it was an awakening. He realized there was a higher power than weapons. Tapasya, the power born of intense asceticism, discipline, and an inward fire. And so began the great shift from the outer battlefield to the inner one. Vishvamitra renounced his kingdom and undertook years and even decades of spiritual practice. He meditated, he fasted, he battled anger, desire, and pride. But this wasn't mere penance. It was a philosophy of transformation. In Indian thought, tapasya isn't about punishment, it's about purification. The burning away of the ego, the cultivation of a will so focused it bends the laws of the universe. And Vishvamitra was not a man of half measures. He wanted to become a Brahmarishi, a seer of cosmic truth. But to do that, he had to overcome not just the gods, but himself. Vishvamitra's path didn't go unnoticed. His growing power made the gods nervous, especially Indra, king of the heavens. Time and again they sent distractions. Dancers like Menaka, whose beauty was said to rival the dawn itself. And Vishvamitra, well, he faltered. He fell in love, broke his vows, fathered a child, then returned to the forest in shame. But here's where the story gets philosophical. Falling isn't failure. In Hinduism, as in life, the path to wisdom is rarely linear. It's full of reversals. Desire isn't demonized, it's understood. And mastery comes not from repression, but from deep transformation. Vishvamitra kept returning, kept meditating, kept refining his being. He wasn't a sage from the start. He had to become one. Vishvamitra's most lasting contribution may not be a battle, or a miracle, or a rivalry, but a verse. The Gayatri Mantra. Amburbuvatswa Tat Savitur Varanya Bhargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yo Nad Prachodayat. A hymn to Savitra, the divine light of the sun. A call for illumination not just of the skies but of the mind. This mantra, still recited by millions today, is an invocation of wisdom, of clarity, of awakening. To say that it's important is like saying Einstein dabbled in physics. Gayatri is the distilled essence of Vedic spirituality, a philosophy of light as knowledge, of inner clarity as liberation. And it was Vishvamitra who revealed it. So, what exactly makes Vishvamitra a philosopher? He didn't write dialogues. He didn't teach in an academy, but he lived a question. What is the true source of power? At first, he thought it was weapons, then miracles, then the destruction of desire. Finally, he realized the greatest power is the stillness that sees all things clearly. Rishi's vision. His journey maps onto a broader Indian philosophical arc, from karma, action, to tapas, discipline, to jnana, knowledge, from conquest of the world to conquest of the self. From the noise of ambition to the silence of insight. In many ways, Vishvamitra represents the spiritualization of the political, the king who turned his gaze inward and rewrote what it meant to rule, starting with himself. You might remember Vashishta the sage who defeated Vishvamitra with calm alone. Well, the two would remain rivals, spiritual foils to each other for years. Vashishta represented inherited wisdom, quiet clarity, and effortless grace. Vishvamitra, by contrast, was the outsider, the fighter, the self-made sage. And it was only when he overcame his final flaw, anger and ambition, that Vashishta acknowledged him as a true Brahmarishi. It wasn't a victory, it was a recognition. not of power, but of purity. Later in life, Vishvamitra appears as a mentor to Prince Rama in the Ramayana. He teaches the young hero sacred mantras, helps him defeat demons, and sets him on his path. It's a remarkable shift from rival of gods to guide of heroes. From ego to legacy, he becomes the very thing he once envied. A giver of knowledge, a calm voice in chaos, a bearer of dharma. That's the arc. That's the philosophy. Not just ideas, but transformation through experience. In a world obsessed with shortcuts, biohacks, life hacks, growth hacks, Vishvamitra offers a different model. The slow fire of self-transformation. The humility to begin again. The courage to lose and return wiser. His life isn't just a myth. It's a mirror. A reminder that philosophy isn't only in words. It's in the choices we make, the struggles we endure, and the self we slowly, patiently create. Vishvamitra started as a king. He ended as a sage. And somewhere in that impossible, painful, luminous journey, we find not just a story, but a way of thinking, a path of fire and light, and finally of peace. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing for more stories from the roots of philosophy. There's plenty more where this came from. Hope to see you soon.